I even like got to the point where I joined a cult, not even realizing that it was a cult. And in full context of what we're going to be talking about in this podcast, I grew up in poverty. Lots of poverty, lots of evictions. We were in homeless shelters from time to time. There was never like really like a stability. And so the cult, like religion, was kind of like that outlet. Like if you go to God, you're going to get all these blessings and money is going to rain upon you and you're going to have everything that you need.
Hello, business owners. Welcome back to the podcast. Today, I have a really special guest with us, Samone Blakely. We met in April of this last year at DL Sharon's event in Washington, D.C. Immediately connected. I feel like we went out to lunch. We had a good chit chat. And so anyways, I won't dive too far into that right now. You are a dating coach.
Yes.
If you guys don't follow Samone, go follow Samone. I don't care if you're married. I don't care if you're in a committed relationship. I am married and I love Simone's content. It is so good. She has such a fascinating take on dating. But before we dive in, introduce yourself. Who are you? What do you do? All the things.
Yeah. So my name is Samone Blakely. I'm known on the internet as Taurussense. I am a dating coach and I specifically help high achieving unchurched women of faith attract quality men who serve and support them and move into relationships of their desired constellation, whether that's marriage or whether that's just simply an exclusive relationship. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Tell me, what does unchurched mean?
So unchurched is you're a woman who grew up with a specific religion. It doesn't have to be Christianity. Sometimes it could be Muslim, like whatever traditional religious aspects. But when you're unchurched, it means that you no longer hold on to the oppressive, misogynistic doctrine, traditional teachings that have held women back for so long.
Is that the same as deconstruction?
I think it's very, very similar. Very, very similar. And so women still hold to their faith and they still believe in the foundational tenets of the religion, but no longer subscribing to those harmful rules and regulations.
Is that a part of your story? I'm guessing.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I grew up in strict religion where I'm like, I'm reading the Bible. My dad, he had us read the Bible every single day. We couldn't go outside and play unless we read the Bible. We had to memorize the Torah, like certain aspects of the Torah, the first 5 books of the Bible, where like my internet name comes from, Taurussense. And I even like got to the point where I joined a cult, not even realizing that it was a cult.
Okay, wait, sidestep. Let's talk about that. Yeah. You don't have to say the cult's name if you don't want to, but like what happened there?
Oh man.
How old were you?
I think I was, when I went to the cult, I think I was like 17.
Okay.
17 all the way up to like 22.
Okay, so like a good
span.
chunk.
Yeah, I was very susceptible because you know, I'm living this life. I'm not really satisfied. And in full context of what we're going to be talking about in this podcast, I grew up in poverty. Lots of poverty, lots of evictions. We were in homeless shelters from time to time. There was never like really like a stability. And so the cult, like religion, was kind of like that outlet. Like if you go to God, you're going to get all these blessings and money is going to rain upon you and you're going to have everything that you need. And even if you don't, God's going to take care of you. At the time, I'm like this single mom with a kid, right? And so struggling, you know, trying to get ready for college and things like that with a baby. You're looking for things to hold on to. You're looking for structure. You're looking for crutches. You're looking for someone to tell you what to do so that you know that everything is going to be all right.
Right.
Versus like trusting yourself and the God within you that exists within you that, oh, like everything's going to be fine. Like you're reaching out. So I'm reaching out to this cult that's telling me, you know, and even though you're poor, you still need to tithe your Food stamps.
Tithe your food stamps?
Yeah, food stamps. Yes, girl. You got to top that 10% of your food stamps.
How do you even do that?
You take that EBT card and you go and you swipe it and you bring back the 10% of the groceries.
Oh my God.
And let the church cook it and everyone eats what you bring back. You let go of your health insurance. I mean, not health insurance, your life insurance, because they promised to bury you. So you give your life insurance money to the church because
you make them the beneficiary, or you like
no, you cancel your life insurance.
Okay.
Period.
And then instead of paying the life insurance, you pay them.
You pay the church, even though they don't have,
even though you're in poverty and on food stamps because you can't afford.
And they don't have any portfolio or money gaining interest or anything.
Oh my God. Okay, wait. So you're in this, and I think to your point, it's understandable. Like you're just looking for a lifeboat.
Yeah.
How do you get out? When did you decide to leave? Was it simple?
It was pretty forced when the pastor makes a sexual move on you, and you're completely like, yeah, no, I cannot. Yeah. I think this is it's time to leave the cult at this point because I don't want to become a second or third wife in the compound.
Oh my God. I'm so sorry that happened.
Yeah.
What was it? I mean, like, okay, so this is, I'm assuming, part of your strong community at that point.
Oh, yeah. That was like, they were saying, like, leave your home, leave your place, and we're going to build you an apartment on the church. So just leave everything and you could just come live with us at the church. I'm telling you, like, that's where I was. I was like grabbing hold to what felt expansive at that time.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
So when you walked away, I'm assuming you had to leave your housing as well?
Yeah.
Just everything.
I left everything. Wow. Yeah. I took a friend with me because he supported me and everything, him and his wife. And I ended up living with them for a while as I try to figure things out and find a place to live and a job. Yeah. Yeah. Because it was during a recession. So I had 3 bachelor's degrees at the time, finance, marketing, and accounting. But I lost all my internships due to the recession. So I had nothing.
Like no job experience?
I had nothing to go to once the internships was snatched away. So I ended up working at Wendy's with 3 degrees. Yeah, working at Wendy's.
Classic millennial story, right? Yeah. The whole overeducated, underemployed.
Oh, yeah.
How long did you do that?
I did that for a good 8 to 9 months, I believe. I was employee of the month the first month I was there.
Hey.
Yeah. I was flipping those burgers. I was proud. I had needed something to support me and my son. But in the meantime, I was traveling like 45 minutes to an hour to Charlotte, like where I was to network and shake hands and meet people. And I remember I got I took a certified, like this business certification in college. And I used that to help business owners in the Charlotte area, like research their business and their competitors and to create like business plans for them. And so that's how I was like making money. I was like, I'm a certified strategic planner, working at Wendy's.
Well, I'm not surprised because you're so personable that like, I wouldn't be surprised that you're out there networking hard. Yeah. Hustling.
Yeah.
Okay. So how do we become, so we go from that, and that was, you said during the recession. So like 2008, 10,
2009, 10. And then from there, I decided I was going to get my MBA in accounting and working.
After your 3 bachelor's degrees. Now we have a 4th. Okay.
Yeah. Cause I'm like, well, might as well get some degrees cause I can't be broke. I'm thinking more degrees, less brokenness.
Did you have to take out student debt to do that, or did you get?
Yeah, like so the first college, like that was kind of like paid for, but masters, I had to take out loans, and there were periods of time where I did not work, so I was taking care of my son, and at the time I took in my sister, so I'm raising like these 2 kids. And going to college for my master's, and then trying to look for a job. So I was working like temp jobs, Wells Fargo, and they had like the temp stuff going on. So temp things. And then it was time for me to graduate grad school, and I still had not landed anything. And I was like, I don't know what I'm going to do. So I just spent it was 2 weeks before graduation. I was like, I'm going to go network my off.
Mm-hmm.
I joined this business fraternity. I went to like this speed networking event. I went to like just different events, and like this one event, I just emailed everybody for lunch. It was one person who emailed me back, and she worked at the IRS, and she said, I will do dinner with you.
Yeah.
And at dinner, I found out that she was also a single mom at like 15. And we had this amazing conversation at dinner, and she said, I'll make some calls. And the next day I had an interview at one of the largest CPA firms in the world. And I got in, and it was never something I aspired to do. I actually believed that I couldn't do anything like that. Like that wasn't for me. Like working at a big firm, not in my cards. And I didn't have to do any internship, which is the regular way that you get in there. I got in full time off of that one phone call. And that was like the start of, oh, I got big girl money now. I got big girl money.
Well, after how old were you at this point?
I was 22.
So that's around when you left the cult as well.
Yes. So I left that was around the time that I left the cult. I got the job at 24.
Oh, at 24.
That's when I graduated with my
MBA
in accounting.
So 2 years after.
Yeah, 2 years after. I left the cult at 22. 2 years later, I secured the job at the global firm. Yeah, yeah. And then got my CPA license as well on top of that. Became a CPA. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm not surprised. I think that it's very common, and I kind of think it's normal, and I also kind of think it's necessary in a way when you get big girl money for the first time like that, especially given like your whole history before that, like you kind of have to enjoy it a little bit, right?
Yeah, but I didn't.
You didn't?
I had those 2 kids I was taking care of.
Right.
I was like, we got health insurance now, guys. You know, we don't have to like wait in the line for the Medicaid office and trying to get help that way. We got health insurance. I ended up, helping her get into college, and I became like a hoarder with my money.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So
I'm one of those.
There's always 2 paths I've noticed with like a money scarcity wound, if you will. People either go overspender or oversaver, because the overspender says, I never want to be poor again. So I want to feel wealthy. So I'm going to spend all my money so I can feel wealthy. The oversaver goes, I never want to be poor again. So let me save all my money and live like I'm poor, but I have money in the account. And it's really funny is I have a pair of clients who are sisters who follow that. One of them is an overspender. One of them's an oversaver.
Oh, wow.
And they have the same childhood, essentially. Right.
Wow.
So, okay, it sounds like you went.
Oh yeah, I was a hoarder. My son never, they never knew what I had. I was saving a chunk of money every single week.
Yeah.
It was just in there. I was like, oh, well, whenever I need it, it's there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how do we go from CPA, big firm, to dating coach?
Well, in the midst of me creating that new life where I have like big girl money, I also wanted to speak to my life a little bit. And I did that through the internet. So I started a YouTube channel where I just posted about my experiences and my mistakes that I didn't want other women to make. And some of those videos just started going really viral. And certain videos that went viral, people wanted more and more on the topic, and they wanted more of me dating. Oh, they wanted, like I made a video called "I Don't Want a Boyfriend" because I believe that until you're ready to marry me, I don't need to be your girlfriend. We can just date until we can get to know each other, and then you can just propose, and then we can get married. And so I talked about that. The video just blew up.
So you're like, I'll get serious after you propose. Yeah.
I mean, we can get to know each other now this whole time. And so that video blew up. There was a sequel, and like people just really wanted more of that. And then they watched me get married. Yeah. And I continued to make content, but I didn't want to make it on dating and relationships. Number one, I didn't know what the hell I was doing. I was married, but like when you come from religion and you're taught like, oh yeah, you just marry this person if this person is a believer and they're a good person, and you can just be with them, and God and Jesus, everything's gonna be okay because the Lord is gonna make sure that you guys are solid. You know, you don't have to worry about things. And so we went into it. We were like, yeah, we love Jesus. It's gonna work out. And so we're in this marriage, and things were working out. He was able to start a really nice business that really blew up and retired me. And so the videos that I was putting on the internet, I turned them into courses, and then women started asking for dating advice at that point. And I was very apprehensive about it. I was like, I don't want to do that. You need to learn about yourself. You need to focus on you. And it got to the point where I had colleagues saying, if you don't do it, they're going to go to someone else.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much how I moved. But I didn't own it. It took me a while to say I was a dating coach because it wasn't popular when I did it. There was barely any dating coaches, and people were not, I was the first one they had come across when we did like sales calls and stuff like that. So yeah.
When was this?
This was 2018. 18-ish is when I moved into this, because I've been making content since like 2010, 2011. It geared specifically into dating around.
Oh, you joined YouTube.
Oh yeah,
at the right time.
I was part of the community, OG community. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you become this dating. You apprehensively say fine.
Oh yeah, I was like, fine, cool.
I'll do it. And you're still married at this point.
I'm still married.
Now we know your marriage has ended. Yeah. When did you get divorced?
Technically, I'm not. I'm still
navigating
that. Yeah, divorce. I'm not. I'm married and dating. Yeah, I'm legally married. Yeah, I left my marriage in 2021.
Okay, so a couple years ago now.
Yeah,
it feels like yesterday, but it's not. It's actually like 3 years ago.
That's because I have been vocal about it recently. I haven't been really vocal about it. Like certain people knew. I've talked to clients like behind closed doors about it. But as far as me like really talking about what I'm experiencing in my dating life, and that was a really scary thing to even talk about.
I can imagine.
Yeah.
Especially if you have that OG community that's seen you through the eras.
Oh, they saw me. They saw me single. They saw me dating. They saw me get married.
Yeah.
Then they're like, oh, they're going to see it ending and I'm a dating coach? How do you end your marriage as a dating coach?
Oh, how do you? How have you navigated that?
You just leave.
Yeah. You just do it.
Yeah, but for a more practical answer, people tend to feel, especially like coming from religion, because even in my marriage, like I got married as this like, you know, super religious person who had to follow her husband and listen to what he says. I lost myself in that. I lost my voice in that because his opinion matters more than mine. His thought processes matter more than mine. And I realized that I wasn't me. And it was to the point where I had acne breakouts. My skin was bad because I was compartmentalizing everything. And I had panic attacks. There was just a lot going on to where I started working on myself and developing in my marriage myself and realizing like, girl, you don't have no voice, no power, no none of that. And that's not who you were. That's not who you were at all.
No, you were a hustler. You were like, you were going to go.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. And I had lots of perspectives and opinions, and I found myself not really having them or being scared to voice them. And I also started deconstructing my faith in the marriage. And there's a lot of things I was like, I don't believe in that no more. Yeah. Oh, I don't believe in that anymore either. And that actually caused a lot of disruption as well, because he did and I did not.
Yeah.
Which led me to teaching certain things and showing up online a different way. And so I left, I'm deconstructing and I'm evolving, which led to me becoming unchurched, right? Not going to regular service, not subscribing to certain traditions. And as I work with women of faith clients, I'm realizing that the mainstream religious tenets that they've held on to have caused them to become shells of themselves as well. Yeah.
So you want to help them
Oh, yeah.
come back to themselves.
Yeah, because mainstream religion has taught them to, I'm saying mainstream for a reason, just in case, oh, she's talking against Jesus. I love Jesus. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about them rules people make up for no reason. They are taught to see their power outside of themselves. Like they have to grab onto something such as me. Like I had to grab on God outside of me, even though scripture says I don't dwell in a temple made by man's hands. I'm going to be within inside of you. And so that's what I'm here to do, is to tap them inside of of themselves so that they are able to attract men without even having to work hard for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So you build this business. Tell us a little bit. I want to go kind of into the business side, the money side a bit. Tell us where you were at financially before we met, and then what was happening when we met last April.
So I had slowly built my business. I made my first dollar in 2015. It was a $7 ebook. I had a friend buy it. Woo woo. Right?
Listen, those first dollars, you remember.
$7 ebook.
Yes.
And I ended up moving to like a $97 course and then like a $29 membership into like what I found was the big leagues, was a $2,000 group program. So I went to doing that. And slowly building up revenue and doing great and getting clients. And even during COVID, I almost had like a $1 million year, like was really close to that. And I'm like, oh yeah, I'm doing amazing.
Yeah.
And I was still married at the time. And like, it was surpassing even like what he was doing in his business. And that also was a place of contention as well. Because previously he was providing for everything.
Yeah.
Right. And so now I got my own money and I'm making my choices with my money.
Right.
And when I decided to leave, you know, I had money saved up, but I was a mess. You know, I'm like, I'm not marketing. I'm not selling. I'm a fraud. And I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't know how long this money is going to last me. And I'm just going to show up and serve my clients the best way I know how, but I don't know how long this is going to be. And so that was pretty stressful.
Yeah.
Fast forward. So I made a bunch of money, saved some money, but also was a mess. So I shut down a little bit. I was not as authentic as I was previously.
Yeah.
So that also cut off some revenue. I built a big team. During that time, because I had so much money coming in, I was spending so much money investing in things externally.
That grabbing again, you went back.
I went back to grabbing outside of myself. They're going to save me. No, they're going to save me. And they're going to save me.
Yeah.
And they're going to save me. And I was investing in all those programs, and it reminds me of what I learned from you about the ROI, the immediate, what's it called again, girl?
Yeah, future problem spending.
Future problem spending.
I think future problem spending, it sounds like you were doing, but I also wonder if you were doing any, no, it might have been future problem, but I also wonder if there was any identity spending in there too.
It probably was all of it. Probably FOMO, like, give me that. The bell is ringing. You know, I need to get that.
But that specific sentence, somebody, like, they're going to save me, they're going to fix it.
Yeah.
When you have that thought, listeners, when you have that thought, just pause for a minute before you swipe the card. I've made that mistake over and over again. And now I actually, I'm going to be teaching this, Mom. I have everyone go through their past bad investments. And I say bad in air quotes because it's really just they didn't have a high ROI. And I ask you to think about, what was I thinking right before I swiped? What was I feeling in my body? And that becomes your red flag toolkit for the future. If you ever feel that again right before you buy, just pause. I did that recently where I almost purchased something and then I was feeling like, oh, wait a minute, I know this sensation. Let me pause. And then I evaluated deeper. And then I decided, no, actually, this was not the right move right now.
I love that so much.
Yeah.
I love how embodied it is.
It's very embodied because you can intellectualize your way into anything, but your body, the way you feel, it can, if you're in tune with it at all, even if just like slightly in tune with it, you don't have to be this like somatic healer. You can just be a little bit in tune and be like, oh, wait, this feels familiar. Last time I felt this way, I made a mistake. Yeah. Let me just pause. And you may do deeper digging and find, actually, no, that is the right move. Cool. But I just want you to pause. Yeah. But it takes going back and looking at those past mistakes.
Yeah. So I guess I did all the spending, the future problem spending, the identity spending,
Don't
the FOMO spending, and money was just bleeding and bleeding. And you know what I thought? Oh, I just need to make more sales.
Yeah.
I'm having like 50, 60K months in my business. And I'm like, I just need to make more sales. Not thinking of all like the expenses. And then payroll was huge. Just all that was happening. So when I met you, or when I came across you, I was like, I'm not ready for her. You know, I have to be more stable.
Yeah.
To work with her. I don't even have a profit to save. Her program is 6-figure saver.
Yeah. Which has since changed because of this.
Right. I'm like, what do I have to save? I don't got nothing to save for real. I'm like barely making profit. So I came to you and I sent you some DMs. I sent you a voice note and asked you about that. You know, I was just concerned and you were like, oh.
Can I share how much you were making at this point?
Yeah.
I remember you said, I'm making 30K months. And I was like, what's the problem? And you're like, well, I need to make more. Like my profit's a mess. And I'm like, if you're making 30K and your profit's a mess, we just have an expense problem, not a sales problem. And you may want to get back up to those 60K months. Absolutely. But that's not going to fix it.
And I was like, no, I just have to, if I get back to 60K months, I'm going to be perfect. I can keep all my expenses and do what I want to do. And you were like, no. and you said, I asked you, like, do you think it's a good idea for me to join now? Because I had binge listened to your podcast. And then I was like, this might be the right move, but let me just send her a voice note. And I backdoored because you had just closed enrollment.
Right.
And I backdoored and got in. And I was just so excited. And I started binging. And I was realizing, I'm like, I thought I was decent with money. I'm a CPA, right?
Like, you're a full CPA.
People always assume like I got it all together, but with my scarcity and my poverty mindset, my background, and not really healing my money story around that, because I also wasn't neutral with my money. And so I remember looking in the program and you were like, you need to start here if you're not neutral with money, and just open up your account and stare at it until you get neutral. And look, girl, I was looking at that thing every day staring like.
For people who are wondering, this is literally the exercise I give people. I'm like, if you're feeling any type of way, all you have to do for 30 days, open your account, look at the balance, ask yourself, what is my feeling in my body? Close the account, do it again tomorrow. And you do that for 30 days. And I guarantee you, eventually your body will start just being calm.
That's what I did.
What was the feeling at the end? Did you get to calm or neutral?
Like now I'm like, you know, there has been times like even with a 25, 30K month where cash flow hit it in negatives, right? Because I was in a process of reorganizing my company. So cash flow was like weird and all over the place. Sure. And I was like, oh, I have $200. I'm just going to go out to eat. I'm going to take I remember I only had two, and I was like, I'm just going to take my friend out to eat. We're going to eat. Because I'll be damned if Netflix get this.
Going out to eat is everyone's problem area. Let me just say that. Everybody has me too. I am the first person to say.
But the thing was, that was actually healing for me because I'm a hoarder.
Right.
And I typically would be like, I gotta keep the 200. And I was like, you know, I just want to feel abundant.
You know what's weird though is you're saying you're a hoarder, but then you ballooned your expenses during that period when you were bringing in a lot of money.
Yeah, because that's when I was trying to save myself. So previously, when I wasn't trying to save myself, I had all this money stored. It wasn't doing anything. Girl, I could have put it in 7-figure wealth.
You could have been in the market.
Girl, I had multiple 6-figure saved. I could have been like a 7-figure wealth. Like I had all that in a portfolio, everything like that. But no, like once I left my marriage, I was like, I need to be saved. I need to be saved.
So it was like the protection of your marriage helped you feel grounded.
Yes.
So when you left that protection, you're on your own.
I got to pay for things.
And it's kind of going back to that 17-year-old version of you. Who can I hold on to?
Who can I latch on to? Yep. And it was in the coaching industry.
Right.
You know, which program, which person, who's going to get me out of this? And none of it was working.
Yeah.
Because I was grasping to be saved in that. And so I'm looking at my money. I'm getting neutral with it. And not freaking out when cash flow is low. And like, I remember one time I came to the coaching call and I was like, I started doing my money dates. This is the first time ever in my life I did money dates. So joining now is money business school, right?
Small business money school.
Small business money school.
We could just call it money school.
Money school.
Yeah.
So now it's money school. But when I first joined, I'm like, oh, wow, I have a system. I started the cash flow waterfall. And I was like, oh, I'm a big girl.
Yeah.
I'm a big girl CEO.
Yeah.
I'm a leader
of
my money.
That's right.
And I had got my Novo account. I'm like, look at me transferring money into my accounts. And I was very proud of myself. And submitting my savings reports, it was so exciting to me I mean, it's still exciting, but it's very exciting to me. And having my money dates every single week on the same day and like creating this whole experience. I had a little treat.
Yeah.
You know, I went to a coffee shop and I did my money stuff and I'm answering the questions. How did you feel this past week? You know, what were your thoughts about the money? I was like, wow, I love this process. Came to a call because during one of those dates, the quarterly bookkeeping date, the spreadsheet it's amazing because you get to forecast for the next month. It gets you thinking about the next month. And I've never done that before. And so it's like, how much money do you want to make next week? And I'm like, I want to make this amount of money, but I don't know. I don't know if I can do it.
Right.
I had all these thoughts. And so like, there's this section on the spreadsheet about the thoughts. And I came to the call and you helped me work through the thoughts about it. I'm like, this woman is a sales coach too. Is she a bit?
My clients always joke. They're like, this is actually a business coaching call. And I'm like, don't.
Like, what is this?
I'm a secret business coach.
I didn't expect any of that. So you turn into a business coach on me and you're like, what are all the ways you can make money?
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, you said you could do this, you could do that. And I was like, I don't want to do that. You're like, I don't care if you don't want to do it. We just need to get out all the options that you have. And I was able to like keep the business afloat.
Yeah.
During those times where I was still reorganizing my team and getting things together and deleting my expenses, going in and looking at what has been a FOMO expense that you have. All right, let's get rid of that. What are some of the other expenses?
Identity, boredom, FOMO, people pleasing.
Oh yeah. Oh girl,
that was your team.
Girl, I didn't know I had people pleasing expenses until that. And I'm like, yeah, I have people pleasing expenses. I want people to be happy and really make a lot of money working with me. I want us all to be amazing.
I want them to like me.
Yeah.
And then future problem
spending. I'm just going to buy this course because they said I'm going to do amazing in this, even though I don't need it right now.
Right.
But I'm going to be amazing at it.
No.
I don't do that anymore. I see it and I look, I'm like, I want it.
Yeah, you can have it. I'm like, when it's appropriate.
I'm like, I want it, but it's not appropriate right now.
Right. That's all it is, really.
I go to the checkout and I stare at it. I think that's I have to look at it till it's neutral, like the bank account.
Well, and here's my thought process too, because what I really like is it's not about the program being good or bad. It's about, does it solve a problem you have right now? Yeah. It might solve a problem you will have later, but let's just wait till later.
Yeah.
So when you have the problem, solve the problem, because you can't solve a problem you can't define, and you can't define a problem you don't have.
Right.
And I also think too, like, it's better for the coach on the other side because they want clients who are going to get good results and be good testimonials and case studies. And if you come in and then you ghost, well, yeah, maybe you gave them money and maybe they're happy they made a sale, but they're not happy that their client results aren't good because they have a group full of people doing nothing.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's good for both parties when we actually just join the programs we should be in and not the ones we shouldn't.
I know. And now I feel like I'm finally in programs I'm supposed to be in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
I know it takes a while too. Like it's not overnight that you can just cancel expenses, right? Some things you're in contracts for, some things have minimums, whatever. So it takes a while to you were saying reorganize your business. Where are you at now? So let's see, April, May, June, July, August, September, 6 months later, 7 months later.
Oh, I forgot. I was also in debt. Like, well, I'm still in debt, but I was in like soul crushing debt.
Yeah. I remember when you joined, it was like, I have cash in the account, but that cash came from a loan.
Yeah.
Just to like have some buffer.
Oh yeah. Just deep in debt. And so I've even been able to sort that out.
Good.
And get a lot of relief from that. Good. And
we're about to do a big debt challenge.
We are.
Mm-hmm.
I'm actually very curious on what a debt challenge would look like for you, considering you're not a payer offerer.
I'm about to get a little harsh.
Oh, that sounds hot.
It's gonna be so. You should see my document. I'll give you a little preview. There's a difference between debt that you use to invest in your business to grow the business. And that's like, investing to grow versus debt that you use to just keep the lights on. Using debt to keep the lights on, as we don't need to feel ashamed of either version. We don't need to feel any type of way, but we want to avoid keep the lights on debt and aggressively pay it off because it's not actually going to make you more money. It's just going to make you another bill. In debt that's investing in something that will grow your company will pay itself off. So I'm going to start getting a little bit more harsh.
That's where you got me at, though, because the debt that I had taken out was to save and keep the lights on. It was to save the business, keep the lights on, keep payroll, keep all the expenses. And I wish I had known before that, girl, that's not the debt you take out, honey.
That's not the, and it's again, like I've even done that in the past where, oops, I spent my cash and I forgot that my launch is actually 2 weeks later. So I miscalculated. No problem. I'm going to take out my line of credit just to cover for 2 weeks, but I know it's going to come back versus, I am chronically, like my income has chronically gone down and my expenses have stayed the same. If you use debt to keep your expenses going, you're going to go bankrupt. That's just a path to bankruptcy versus a little cash flow oopsie. So that's why I say there's still no room for shame. We don't want to feel ashamed of either version, but we do want to approach those two different types of debt differently.
That's one of the things that I love that I learned about with you was how to view debt. Yeah. Because there was shame around that. Yeah. Because I had built my business off of just my own cash. Right. You know, and so to go into debt was like, what?
Especially as a hoarder.
As a hoarder.
If that's like your natural tendency.
Yeah, I felt the shame. Yeah. And so coming with you, you was like, there's, it's just debt. Yeah. That's it. Yeah. And you get to frame it how you want to frame it. But it's just that. And then I was like, I was telling my bookkeeper, I was telling everybody, I was like, this debt is helping me. I'm buying this debt to invest in this program that is helping me. It's a current problem. Right. And I'm proud of this debt. Yeah. And they were like, well, you need to focus on paying it off. I was like, I'm focused on paying it off whenever it gets paid off. I'm not in a rush because this is good debt for me.
Well, when you really are working on a current problem, it will pay itself out.
And it has.
But when you use it for the cash flow, it's hard.
But I'm looking at my debt now and I'm like, it paid for itself. Yeah. Like I'm getting the return that I've always wanted to have. And so I'm just very, very grateful for that at this time.
Well, what I'm hearing from you is you've actually successfully, maybe this is the first time, I don't know, you've learned how to use debt as the tool it is.
Yes. First time ever. Yeah. First time.
And now you get to strengthen that. But now it's like, okay, debt's an option versus debt is the worst thing in the world. Exactly. But you still have to be smart about how you use it.
Because I got a phone call about a few weeks ago and they were like, hey, you haven't used, like, we saw that you haven't tapped into your funds. I'm like, what funds?
Oh, was this from Novo?
No,
Oh, someone else.
No, I have Novo debt, but it wasn't from Novo.
Because I got a line of credit from Novo and I was like, yeah, I'll take your line of credit. Sure, if I need it, I'll use it. I didn't use it for over a year and they took it away. They were like, you haven't used this. And I'm like, okay, it's fine.
Haters.
I'm like, it's fine. Take it. I don't care. But sometimes they'll do that with lines of credit.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I had that too. And it was to keep the lights on. So that's been a hectic one because that's the bank account I use. They're going to come take their money.
Right.
You can't just not pay them.
It's connected.
They're going to get it. So I had, they gave me a phone call and it was like, hey, you haven't touched this credit. I was like, what do you mean? And they were like, yeah, you have this money. And it's like, I'm like, wow, I have money. Yeah. And it felt good to have debt that I didn't have to use.
Right. Available.
Available. So if there's anything that needs investment that I could like turn around very quickly, I know that I have access to it.
Right.
And I also know that I'm not going to use it to keep the lights on.
Right.
I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to go sell some stuff.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Oh, okay. So we've cleaned up a lot of expenses.
Oh, yeah.
We've cleaned up a lot of debt.
Yes.
And we're in the process of paying that off as it goes.
Yes. We feel clean now.
We feel clean.
Yes.
How's your take-home pay?
My take-home pay, I'm still taking home to pay.
Good.
Like, I haven't stopped when like you were like, you know, you need to make sure you pay yourself. So I've been paying myself.
Good.
Taking home my pay. And also in the midst, making sure the business has been taken care of. Yeah, right. I've still been taking my pay.
And how's your profit looking now?
I finally have profit.
Yay.
Finally. I'm like, oh yeah, I got money in the bank today, girl.
Are you back at 60K months?
No.
And you're profitable.
And I'm profitable. I'm not at 60K months. But I'm profitable.
Yeah.
I'm back.
Good.
I'm like, oh yeah, I got a profit.
Wow.
Yeah, it's all good. So when I get to 60K months, go ahead and start me a portfolio, girl.
Yes, we will. Mm-hmm. We will. Mm-hmm. Yeah. This is what I love too. It's like, you're just such a great story of, very similar to actually a client who I had on the podcast, Kathy Mazak, $1 million a year, close to $1 million a year, the crash, and then the save. And a lot of people don't make it to the save, unfortunately.
I didn't think I was going to make it to the save.
I mean, it's just statistically true from the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics that 50% of businesses close within the first 5 years. That's just true. And it's stuff like this and other things, of course. But yeah, like, just because your revenue is declined doesn't mean we can't still craft it to be profitable.
Yeah. And the revenue is still not like, you know, high. Well, that's subjective.
That's
People are probably listening. It's like, you have 30K months. What are you complaining about?
How much did you make at Wendy's?
Right. $6 an hour.
Right.
I killed
30K months.
Yeah.
That's insanity.
I know. Like, so let me just count my blessings. It's subjective.
But it is. But also to your point, like when you compare it to 60K month, that feels like a big change.
Yeah. And I even remember having a 120K month. And then after that, it was like a 90K month. So I'm remembering those.
Right.
And I feel like I has been.
Yeah. Well, you know what I think is funny, and I don't think we talk a lot about it in the coaching industry, because the coaching industry has had this boom, and we've had this maybe subconscious belief that we should just keep growing every year.
Yeah.
And although that may be true for some businesses who may be able to do that, it's not normal. It's very normal to have high years and low years in business. And I want you to think about, forget, 5 years in business. I want you to think about this as your career. If this were your career, isn't it make sense to think that there's going to be good years and bad years?
It didn't make sense at the time, but it makes complete sense now.
Right.
And
it's hard when you're in it.
Oh, yeah.
It's not fun.
And I feel more like a leader now and more streamlined now at these 30K months, 25K months, 20K months than I did at the 60K months, the 6-figure months. Like I feel more in charge of my money, because when I was making 60K months regularly, I wouldn't look at my money.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, it's there. I wouldn't look.
Yeah.
I didn't have a relationship with it. I just knew it was there.
It can be to, there's a couple ways to say this. One is raindrops make oceans, and the other is death by a million paper cuts, right? Like I have noticed with clients who get up into the 7-figure arena, it's so easy to say, another thing is no big deal. Another this, sure. Oh, the VA needs more hours, no problem. Oh, we need to upgrade the software. Yeah, just do it. And it's almost easier to say, just do it than to say, well, wait, why does the VA need more hours? What went wrong? Let me solve that so we don't have to chronically overpay. And as much as it is true that an extra $500 to someone making $60K a month, it's nothing.
Nothing.
But it adds up.
And I realized that when the revenue got low, I was like, $500 could leave me in the negative in like 2 weeks.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. This conversation has been so good. I have to ask one final question. Not even ask a question, but I want to talk about the dress. Because
like the dress, like we all know what the dress
not
is.
Not the wedding dress. The dress. So I follow you on social media. Like I said, I'm married, happily married. I love your content. Anyone who's not following needs to follow, because you just have this way of viewing the world and this way of communicating. And I actually think what it is you have joy that just seeps out into the world. And that's so infectious. But you made a post recently, a carousel post about a dress. Tell us about the dress.
Oh, yeah. So the carousel was about the time I left my marriage, like the year I left my marriage. And I was concerned about my finances.
Yeah.
I left everything, like literally left everything when it came to my marriage, toiletries, furniture, clothes. I had nothing. And
you like left the house.
Oh, I left everything behind.
Yeah.
We got to go. And I'm like, I just got to build something, you know, slowly. But I'm also a dating coach, and I'm also going to date. And that's what I chose to do. I chose to, because I see dating as a life skill and that it adds value to your life. And so I'm like, well, I don't want to spend money, a lot of money, because I need this money. And so what I decided to do was I ordered a dress on Shein for like, I think that dress was like $19.
Yeah.
Yeah. I ordered that dress and I wore it to every first date I had. That was the dress that I wore. I wore it to arcades. I wore it to Top Golf. I had axe throwing in there. Like, you're not supposed to wear certain shoes there. And I had the dress on, axe throwing. I went to concert. Someone took me to a concert wearing that dress. I was in Chicago with that dress on. Like, I got flued out to Chicago. I took that dress. I got flued out to Miami. Like,
that dress has been around.
It has been around. Yeah. And so, and I still wear it. Yeah. I still wear that dress to this day, that $19 dress. And I built my wardrobe over time, but that dress allowed me to keep putting myself out there and continuing to date and meet people. And because of that, I had men investing in my business during that time. I had, I was able to not pay for rent for a period of time. I had things being taken care of by me putting myself out there dating, and then men showing up for me in the process because of that dress. And if I was like, oh, I gotta wait till my life is together and I can't I can't do this. Like, I would have never had those men come and serve and support in that way and get me back on my feet.
Cause I think it can just be like, oh yeah, like I have nothing to wear. I just left. I have nothing to wear. Yeah. That almost like internal objection. And we have these types of things in business all the time. I'm not ready for this because XYZ, or I can't do that because XYZ. And what I love about the story is like, it's just such a simple thing and it was so low cost. And it's like, you got out of your own way.
Oh yeah.
With a $19 dress.
$19 dress.
Yeah.
Same thing when I joined your program. I was like, well, let me max out this card. I only got $500, and that's the down payment for
the payment plan.
That's
right.
And it's paid off now, but I started off like, well, I can do $500 today,
right?
And I'll figure out the rest later.
Right. I think I remember telling you too, and I've said this to other people before. I'm like, you're like, I only have the first $500, and I'm like, okay, let's make it through 1 month, and then we're both adults. And if you really like, if it's that dire, we're just gonna have a conversation.
I figured it out.
Yeah. like, we'll just chat.
Yeah.
It's not a big deal, but like, let's get you started.
And here we are.
And here we are, profitable again.
Yeah.
Profitable again. Ay, so good. Okay. Any parting words for our listeners?
I'm really pleased to meet you. Yeah. I know that when I met you in person in April, I just thought you were one of the most generous, thoughtful, kind, down to earth human beings. And I remember telling my friend who went out to lunch with us, because you even paid for lunch, and you were also generous with your money because you paid for lunch, but generous with your thoughts and your perspectives and your opinions. And we left lunch feeling like, wow, it was such a pleasure to connect with this woman. And we felt blessed just being in your presence. So I'm just really, really happy to have connected with you there.
Well, likewise.
Yeah, absolutely. It was so good. So that I do want to say. And I also want to say, y'all, if y'all been thinking about joining money school, please just join. It will transform the way you think and feel about money and how you show up for yourself. And when it comes to your money, you will build a relationship if you come in and you do the work. And I think the program is brilliant and you should be a part of it. And then I also think you should follow me, even if you're married. I think that it could be helpful. You can follow me on Instagram at Torahcents, TORAHCENTS, one word. And just drop me a line.
I'm going to post all your links in the show notes as well, so you guys can just click and follow. Okay. But truly go follow Samone. She's brilliant. Brilliant. Well, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you, Gina.
All right, guys, I will see you guys in the next episode. Take it easy.